Hi everyone, my name is Kate Rees from the Faculty of Arts at the University of Adelaide, and I'm here with my colleague Isabel Siddiqui. Welcome to the Thinking Postgraduate webinar series. Today we're going to hear about the Master of Media Strategic Communication. We have the Q&A function available for you, so if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the Q&A. We'll try to answer them as we go via the Q&A and also leave some time for questions to be answered live at the end of the presentation. Now I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Michelle Phillipov, who is the Program Coordinator for the Master of Media Strategic Communication. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Kate. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Michelle Phillipov, and I'm the Program Coordinator of our brand new Master of Media in Strategic Communication at the University of Adelaide. So we're very excited to be the only South Australian university to be offering a specialised degree in the burgeoning field of strategic communication. So media communications at the University of Adelaide is ranked #1 in South Australia, but this is actually one of the few specialised qualifications anywhere that will fully equip you with the skills that you need to work in this fast-changing field. So there's now increasing demand for strategic communicators in the corporate, government and not-for-profit sectors. And these communicators need to be flexible and adaptable and able to respond to the rapid changes in both media and industry that we're facing. And so our program's been designed to put you at the cutting edge of these changes, the ones that we know about and the ones that we don't know yet. And so we do this by combining theory and practice. So combining practical skills with cutting edge research. And the Master of Media in Strategic Communication has been designed in consultation with industry experts to ensure that the degree meets industry needs for graduates in this field. And so we cover each of the main areas that you need to know about to work in this space. So you'll study media relations, social media management, risk and crisis communication. You'll also have the opportunity to develop your leadership skills and your own strategic leadership style in strategic media leadership. And each of these courses, from the topics to the examples to the case studies, have been designed in direct consultation with industry experts that are currently working in the field. And so we maintain those close relationships with industry throughout the degree. So you're not going to be passively sitting in large lecture theatres. You're actually going to be working in sort of small group workshops where you'll be able to work with experts. And our academic staff in media are among the best teachers in the university, and many are leading researchers in their fields. So you'll be able to practice and apply your skills with ready access to both teaching staff and to strong peer networks. The degree also has a strong research component, and that will give you the opportunity to connect your practical skills with cutting edge research in both traditional and digital media. And this process is designed to be quite scaffolded. So you'll do some courses that prepare you for your research project. There'll be some research training courses. And then you'll design and execute your own research project. It'll be 15,000 words, which you'll do under the supervision of an academic expert. So in terms of time commitment, most of our subjects are worth 6 units each. So that's essentially 2 subjects per semester on average. Each subject tends to have sort of 2 to 3 contact hours per week and sort of 2 to 3 major assessment tasks per subject. So that class time is really, but the contact hours are really focused class time. What you'll have in advance is some pre-reading. I pre-record my lectures so that you can listen to them at any time that suits you. And then you can come to class ready to jump straight into the practical work. Teaching staff also have some consultation hours outside of class time so that you can meet with them for any additional help or support that you might need. As well as our, regular coursework, you'll also have the opportunity to apply your skills into an industry context through the opportunity to undertake an industry internship. So depending on what your subject choices are, you'll have the opportunity to undertake up to 2 internships for course credit as part of the degree. They're generally between 10 to 12 days in length, And people go to all sorts of different organisations. They go to large and small businesses, to charities and not-for-profit organisations, to government departments, to cultural institutions. And so you get to choose where you go for your internship. And that allows you to focus on the areas of the industry and the areas of your own professional development that you want to focus on. So our combination of practical skills and research expertise makes our graduates ideally placed for a range of professional and leadership roles in the industry. So you would graduate from the Master of Media in Strategic Communication with significantly enhanced strategic thinking, problem solving and decision making ability, highly advanced skills in creating and tailoring strategic messaging for all key media channels, deep understanding of the principles underlying media relationship building, high-level skills and understanding in brand messaging and in risk and crisis communication, and insight into current and forecast global media trends. We're living in a time when media has become probably the primary site through which issues of local, national, and global significance are articulated and negotiated. And a degree in strategic communication will give you the capacity to take a leading role in shaping the contemporary communications landscape. So graduates with high-level skills in strategic communication are valued across a range of media, communications, public relations, and marketing roles. And graduates go on to work for government, for large and small business, for international organisations, for charities and not-for-profit organisations. And graduates at the University of Adelaide are not only career ready to work in the established media and communications professions, but also in the emerging jobs in the field. So many of our graduates go on to shape the future directions of the industry through their own, setting up their own businesses and startups, for example. And so this degree has been specifically designed to give our graduates the capacity to take a leading role in shaping the future of the media and communication sector, both in Australia and internationally. So if you're interested in the ever-changing global media landscape, if you're keen to acquire the knowledge and skills and insight to lead strategic communication in any sector, if you're motivated to shape the communications landscape on issues of local, national, and global significance, then this could be a degree for you. So to apply, you need to have a bachelor's degree in any subject. So you don't necessarily need to have any prior study in media. So we have two different pathways in the Masters. One is for people who come with no prior media experience. That's the full 2-year Masters. If you do have prior study that's relevant in media, you may be eligible for our 1.5-year Masters. So it's a more accelerated program. If you don't have a degree, but you have equivalent professional experience, so at least 5 years of relevant professional experience in a media and communications role, that is also makes you eligible to apply as well. You can also, I guess, choose the level of commitment that best suits you. So you can either do the full Masters, or you could do a graduate diploma in media in strategic communication, which is a 1-semester full-time program, or you could do the graduate certificate, the graduate diploma in media and strategic communication, which is a 1-year full-time equivalent qualification. So you could sort of start, say, with the graduate certificate and work your way up from there, or you could start in the Masters, depending on what level of commitment best meets your needs. So you can find more information about the degree and the entry pathways at this link. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions about the degree, I'd be more than happy to hear from you at this email address. You can contact me at any time, but we can also go through any questions that you might have now. So thank you. Should I stop my screen share, Kate, so I can see everybody? Or
you can keep it on if you like.
I'll leave it up there so people have my details that they can.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for that. So now, as Michelle said, it's to you, audience. It's your turn to ask Dr. Phillipov any questions that you might have about the Master of Media Strategic Communication. So whilst you're thinking of some questions that you might like to ask, I have received a couple of questions from some students who were not able to attend today, and I'll read them out. So the first one is, I think you've probably covered this, but what is the difference between the extension program and the conversion program for the Master of Media Strategic Communication?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the conversion program is designed for people who have no prior study in media, and the extension program is designed for people who have some prior relevant study. So I'm going to go back to my earlier slide with the subject. So we see the 4 core courses. If you come with no prior experience in media, you'll study all 4 of those courses. And so they give you the introduction to sort of all the areas of media that you need to know. If you come with prior relevant study and so go into the extension program, you'll choose 2 of those courses. And so you'll choose the 2 that best suit, I guess, the areas that you want to focus on. And, you know, we'll credit you for the areas that are sort of equivalent that you've studied before. So you do kind of get that sort of leg up and a more accelerated program if you come through the extension program.
Great, thank you. The next question here is, someone said, I'm interested in research. Does the Master of Media include a research component? And what can I research?
It does. So the Masters has a 15,000 word dissertation, which you do as kind of the final thing that you do as part of the degree. So that degree, that level of research makes you eligible then for research higher degree study. So you could then apply for a PhD or research masters on the back of that amount of on the research project of that size. So that research project is a self-directed research project where you work under the supervision of an academic expert. So you get to research an area of the industry that most interests you and that sort of, I guess, best fits your career trajectory. But you get to work with an expert in the field who will help you, I guess, design that and develop that into a project that's methodologically rigorous and that helps you to develop significant findings. So it's 15,000 words is a fairly substantial research project. So there's quite a lot of scope there for you to really sink your teeth into something that you're really interested in.
Great, thank you. There's a couple of questions about the internships. The first one is, what sort of internships can students undertake?
Okay, so the internships that students undertake are actually surprisingly broad. So, you know, you're not just going to, I guess, what we might think of as media organisations. You're actually going to any sort of organisation in which media skills are relevant. So people they work in government departments. We had someone recently go to the Department of Health. So totally not media related, but where their media and communication skills were really useful. Charities and NGOs take a lot of our students, large and small businesses, cultural institutions, etc. Internships are generally 10 to 12 days. And what you do is you work under supervision with a mentor from a host organisation. And what we ask of the host is that they give you an opportunity to make a meaningful contribution to that organisation. So you will be under supervision, often doing, I guess, practicing your practical skills, getting feedback and mentorship from your host. You might be working on media campaigns, you might be writing media releases, you might be sitting in as people are pitching projects and you know, making campaign pitches. So there's all sorts of different things that people might be doing on their internship. And you know, you will work with your host at the beginning to, I guess, set some goals and set some, I guess, parameters around what you'll be doing. So you'll kind of know from the outset what the outcomes of that internship will be.
Someone has also asked the question, are there any scholarships for this course?
There are not any specific scholarships designed for this course. There are there other broader university scholarships that might be relevant, Kate?
Yeah, there are loads of university-wide and also Faculty of Arts-wide scholarships. So it might not be specifically for the Master of Media Strategic Communication, but definitely there are plenty within the Faculty of Arts and the university in general that students can apply for.
Yeah, Did that come through on the group chat just then?
Yes, it did.
Did you have a link to anything that?
Yep, we can put a link for the scholarships in there in a moment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, there's one more question about internships.
Mm-hmm.
How do I arrange my internship, or does the university do it for me?
Okay, so there are several different models we use for internships. The course Strategic Media Leadership has an internship option if you choose to take it. That one is a self-arranged internship because it's designed to help you with your professional development and professional planning. So the course coordinator, who may be me, will work with you to develop, I guess, a set of strategies and goals, and help you to make contact with relevant organisations. But you get to choose where you go for that internship, and you get to choose to focus on the things that are most relevant to you. There is an elective course that you could potentially take, which is also an internship. In that one, you have the option of either arranging your own internship or working with faculty staff to get their support to arrange that. The third option that we have is that often organisations come to us and say, we're looking for somebody in this area with these skills. And so we advertise those placements to people in the relevant course. And so you could potentially apply for one of those as well. So there's, I guess, the three models. You arrange your own, you get support to arrange one, or you respond to an advertised opportunity.
Right, so there's plenty of opportunity there. Thanks, Michelle. Someone has asked, what is risk and crisis communication?
So risk and crisis communication, I guess, encompasses strategies for when things go wrong. So it includes things like, say, if something goes wrong for a company, how do you repair reputation? What are the strategies for rebuilding that brand when things go wrong? What are the strategies for preventing things from going wrong in the first place? So what are the proactive communication strategies that you use to stop things becoming a risk or a crisis? It also includes things like emergency communication. So, you know, what happens in a crisis situation where there's, you know, a bushfire or a flood? How do you get messages out to people in a way that it keeps people safe and gets the messages most clearly heard? So we look at that from the perspective of government communication, not-for-profit and corporate sector. So you'll look at, I guess, different kinds of issues, risks and crises. There's lots of case studies. Risk and crisis is really fun for case studies of things that have been done well and things that have been done badly. And so there's a set of really practical strategies for, I guess, communicating difficult messages. And that's really the crux of what that's about.
Right, sounds fascinating. Okay, another question. How much practical study is involved? Do students create media objects, videos, media releases, graphic design, etc. during the course to create a portfolio that then they can use as evidence in the real world?
Absolutely. So, so the way media relations, social media management, and risk and crisis communication in particular are structured, you have the lecture content, which is really, I guess, introduces you to the theoretical concepts. But then in the workshops, that's really focused on applying those things in a practical context. So all of the major pieces of assessment for those courses have a practical component where either you're developing a media release or a campaign pitch. In social media management, you develop a portfolio of practical work of social media messaging in different kinds of platforms and different kinds of mediums. We also get you to reflect critically on that to explain your practical choices, but you do develop this kind of portfolio of work. Also, if you undertake an internship, there's practical work that you'll undertake during that time that you can then use for your portfolio. So the course is really designed to be really very practically focused. You know, this is not just about theory. The theory is important. The theory makes you a more reflexive practitioner. but you also have tangible outputs at the end as well.
Great, thank you. Another question. I work in media but have learned on the job. I'm interested in analytics. Is this covered in the Master of Media Strategic Communication?
Yes, it is. So social media management looks particularly at using and interpreting social media analytics, but evaluation is also an aspect that is covered in media relations and in risk and crisis communication. So you look at different strategies for, I guess, evaluating whether messaging has been successful, whether certain campaign strategies have been successful. So you'll be picking up, I guess, those questions of analytics across the different courses.
Okay, so someone has asked, will there be degree specialisations, or would we just choose a range of electives that interest us?
Yeah, so I guess the specialisation in this case is strategic communication. And so that's why we have the core courses. I'll go back to my degree structure. So the core courses are all strategic communication specialties. The research dissertation, again, you'll be doing a kind of communication, media, stratcoms related topic. You have up to 12 units of study that include electives and research training courses. Really about half, that's split half-half. So you have 6 units of electives, you have 6 units of research training courses. You can choose what they are, but we really designed this course to give you a really kind of tailored, streamlined focus on strategic communication as the specialisation, and then you can bring in some additional subject choices that support other areas that that will help your professional development. So if you're interested in visual design, for example, there are courses that you can take as electives in that space. If you're interested in science communication, you can take an elective in that space. So we're kind of in the process at the moment of increasing the number of elective choices to enable you to do things like that.
Right. Another question, are there software and resources available for students to use to create media objects, such as Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, Camtasia, etc., which can be prohibitively costly?
Yeah, so we have several purpose-built media labs that have software as part of that as part of the lab, and as a media student you have access to that space outside of regular teaching time. So you can come in and use that. In COVID times, when people haven't been able to go onto campus, some of the big publishers like Adobe have been giving our students essentially free licenses to be able to continue their work at home. So we don't require you to pay for those licenses. You do have access to that software.
Great, thank you. I think there's one more question. Someone said that they're really interested in a career in media, but this came late to them as their undergraduate degree is in science. Will this affect their chances of meeting the entry requirements, or will it make it difficult for them to understand this new study area if they don't have a background in media?
Okay, great. So that's a really good question. So the conversion pathway, which is the full 2-year master's, is designed for people who come from any degree background. You don't need to have any prior study in media. And so the way that we set up the order that you take the different courses, that will allow you to get, I guess, to get the introduction that you need. We'll treat those introductory courses on the assumption that you've never studied media before. So we will, I guess, work with you to get your understanding up quickly. And having, that degree already, you're a fast learner, and you'll be able to pick this up quickly. But, we have not designed this degree purely for media specialists. This is designed for people who want a completely different career change and move into this new space. So we have, I guess, the 2 pathways that allow for that. So people who've got prior study come through one pathway. People who come from a completely different background will go through the other pathway.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Michelle. And thanks everyone for attending and submitting your questions today to Dr. Michelle Phillipov. Remember, you can contact us at any time if you have any questions about the Master of Media in Strategic Communication. Thanks.
And this is my email address if you want to contact me directly.
Sure, thank you.